Antonio Gandy-Golden, but as we're talking, you just go by AGG. That's okay by you?
Right. Perfect.
Perfect. All right, AGG. Kind of going through this whole off season, really, we could just call it the Corona pandemic. It's been really wild, and we're all having to adjust differently. But you actually came out in March and tested positive for it. Can you just tell us a little bit what that was like?
Um, for me, it was kind of weird because I didn't necessarily know that I had it. As with a lot of people, I kind of had, a few things going on the week before when I was in Florida, but I figured it was just allergies and things like that because it wasn't anything major. So then when they closed down Florida that next week and I ended up having to go back to Lynchburg to use my school's facilities, I had to test to make sure I didn't have it so I didn't bring it in. And I tested, and 5 days later they came out and told me that I had it. So I was kind of surprised because I figured I was good. I was perfectly fine. I was going to be able to work out, that next Tuesday.
Well, we're glad you're good. You take a look at all the protocols that are in place now. I mean, kind of what is it like? I mean, you're new to the NFL, but now you have all these restrictions and, having to wear the masks and going through areas where you can and can't be and split up. I mean, just what is that kind of like for a player trying to get to the game with all that?
I feel like right now, it's perfectly fine, especially since it's very necessary, especially if we want to play. So I definitely don't mind it. I know this is not normal, and the guys around here told me this is definitely not a normal circumstance, but it's just something you have to get used to if you want to be able to play. So that's what we're doing.
It's the first time you finally get to be around your teammates, so you didn't have the rookie mini camp or the OTAs and stuff to kind of get to know them. But we did see you kind of working out with Anquan Bolden. Were there other guys that you kind of leaned on and kind of tried to, get some time in with?
I worked out with Anquan in Florida, of course, and he was great. And I also worked out with Chris Carter pretty much every day. They were always in the gym helping us out. So between those two guys, those are the guys I really, leaned on this off season to really try to get some good technique, just really learn football more.
Yeah. So what would you say is the biggest takeaway from that?
They just honestly just brought a lot of knowledge that I didn't necessarily have, in college, just from those guys playing in the league so long and doing the things that they did. They could offer me a lot of cool tips and tricks, just as far as separation and just getting off the ball that, I definitely didn't have before.
Well, you were at college. You had 3 straight years of 1,000 yards, 3 straight years of 10 touchdowns. What are the realistic expectations for you now as you go to the pros?
Honestly, right now, I just want to come in and just produce as much as possible. I can't really put a number or a name to exactly what I'm going to do this year, but I know for sure that I want to come in and make an impact wherever it may be, and I'll help the team win as many games as possible.
Has coach told you where you're going to line up or where and how they plan to use you?
Not necessarily. We're all kind of mixing in right now, so we'll see how it goes. It's very early in camp, so I feel like once we get the pads on and things like that, they'll be able to figure those things out.
Coach was also telling us that you play faster than the 40 time. For those of us that look at the numbers and those measurables from the combine and we get all caught up in the sexiness of them, kind of help us understand what that means when he says that.
I feel like, the 40 times just that, super straight line speed and, you're not really making a move or anything like that. I feel like in the football field, it's a lot different. You're constantly making cuts and exploding in different directions. And I feel like, on the field, I definitely showed that I can do that more than I did in the 40.
This team has needed some help in the red zone. You're tall, big, physical, aggressive. But I even heard that when you're at Liberty, there are times if you didn't think you'd catch the ball, that maybe you'd play the role of the DB and at least try to break it up. Did you ever play that side of the ball, or where does that kind of mentality come from?
The mentality comes to where, if the ball's in the air, I just think it's mine. And if I don't feel like I can get it, then nobody else can either, So if I can't get the ball and there's a DB, possibly about to, try to intercept the ball, it's my job to, get it away from him so we can play the next play.
Yeah, they'll take that if you can't bring it down. We know you like to do that as well. Look, Terry McLaurin comes in last season and just really wowed everybody in his rookie season. There's a lot of talk on who's going to be the guy opposite of him. But what are your conversations like with Terry?
He's honestly a lot of help. He's been helping me out a lot since I've gotten here, me and the other rookies as well. And I definitely feel like, he's definitely a leader on the field, does what he's supposed to do. And he's just a great guy to, be able to look at, technique-wise and everything just to make sure you're doing things right.
What would you say, I mean, you said you've talked to some of the guys, is the biggest difference so far that you've come across from your days in college to now just 2 weeks into a pro? And again, you don't have the pads on yet, but I'm sure there's some differences.
I'd say I wouldn't say there's too many differences as far as, the people that I've seen and talked to. I would say the biggest surprise is that it is a little bit, more family oriented and type, other than what I've heard, the league was going to be like, prior. I heard it wasn't going to be, as close knit, as it is in college. But as far as I'm concerned right now, how I felt is, very, very family like.
They call you kind of like the most interesting man alive. I know we talk a lot about the Rubik's Cube, the gymnastics, the painting, you're picking up golf. Do you challenge guys in any of that? Has anybody said I can take you on in the Rubik's Cube or do backflips with you? Or, is that anything at all when you're with the teammates?
Oh yeah, occasionally, occasionally the guys kind of, come and challenge me. I got a very close guy on the team already. Isaiah. We actually trained down together in Florida, so we always just joke around and do stuff like that.
Who's that?
Isaiah, right?
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Did you pick up any extra unique traits during quarantine when you had all this extra time?
I did not. I did not at all. Actually, well, I kind of did. I did a little bit more juggling. I started trying to go behind my back. So.
Oh, that's cool. We're gonna have to see that one day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.